Calm down, calm down. All right. Well, like I was telling you, I went to sleep last night around 10, well after 10:30 somewhere around there, around 10:50 I think. I was trying to watch the music awards and stuff like that on ABC. But anyway, I'm now even though I was in my mom's house and we were eating dinner, we were all distracted, right? There too. There, true. Well, that doesn't mean if someone had a key that they're not supposed to have, like I've been saying about someone stole my keys recently. Well, they could have made it what, a spare key, right? So that don't mean Mom, Big Roddy, or Blake knew anything about it, right? We were all distracted by her preparing the meal, right? And I don't remember no real blackout there. That's what I'm trying to determine, right? Now, 5 miles is what? Maybe 5 minutes away, right? Now, all I'm trying to do is, deal with the crazy thoughts popping through my head one thought at a time. As I'm realizing something's off here, right? It don't mean I believe any of the thoughts initially yet either, but I am aware of that crazy thoughts. You know what I mean? So this is to make sure someone isn't trying to make me think it's my parents doing this to me too, or Blake or anyone like that, right? Now, only Marceline and Big Roddy could have drove the car. Well, that would mean they would have to physically assault me in order to do so. That ain't quite sticking, even though we are all in the house together. That could be my schizophrenia there, right? Now, this is how to investigate a crime, right? Or something unusual happening in your life, right? Yet you're mentally ill or something like that. And, yet you know you're mentally ill and unlike other mentally ill people, but who don't admit it, you do. See, all I'm doing is, going through the thoughts running through my head at first. My first paranoia could be Mom, right? Because she's right there, and she would have to let me out. And I've been out since I was 16. And she was in the scene, but she wasn't at the scene until someone, Roddy called her. That still doesn't mean it's her, but I'm more concerned with her because she's still alive and Roddy and Mark are dead. Now, that don't mean, though, like I said, that anything I said there was true either. I'm paranoid, right? When you're paranoid, you're not thinking rationally at first. You're, going a million miles a minute, right? And I'm just, telling you the initial thoughts running through my head, right? Now, if you're being manipulated somehow, right, you got to consider the fourth possibility of what could happen, right? There's more than one possibility. There's two sides to every coin. Now, if we're all in the house, that means someone outside the house who got the keys, took the car for a joyride, and no one in the house even drove the car while we were eating dinner, right? That's more logical, right? Right. Well, I told you, this proves someone stole the key somehow, got a spare copy of the other key, and drove the car while I was having dinner with Mom and Big Roddy, right? Right. So that eliminates Mom and Big Roddy as the initial suspects. It means the person who stole the key, which is what I'm trying to prove too, someone stole the key, someone stole the watch, someone stole the potatoes, which I still haven't found the potatoes at all. Now I got a little cold. Well, I ain't been around nobody to get a cold, right? Usually when you get a cold, you're around someone, right? I'm also trying to figure out if someone is trying to lure me with young girls or something like that too, right? Different theories I have, right? Now, none of it is provable, right? In a court of law, right? They're just theories initially, and even with my mom, it's a theory. Because if a mother is mad with her son, it's not necessarily anything the son done, but like with Joyce Meyer or something like that, if she's resenting something, she could be mad with me, but again, I'm not sure that's the real case, because I remember our basic life was pretty good until the car accident, and even after. See, I lived with her until I joined the Navy, see what I mean? Right. I also lived with her a little bit after the Navy, and For 8 years, I helped raise my sister Renee, and then for 5.5 years, I was in the Navy, and then for additional time until now, that's a total of 13 and a half years, right? Well, it's been 23 years, right, since I met Daphne, different things like that, right? And trying to figure out timelines and do I really believe all these crazy ideas first, too, right? This is to help anyone who's dealing with thoughts learn to discern good thoughts, bad thoughts, crazy thoughts, racing thoughts, things of that nature, too, right? See, if you can take every thought into captivity to the obedience of Jesus and try the spirits or thoughts or ideas or everything popping into your mind, like the Bible suggests, you can then learn to control your thoughts. Slow down. That's why I don't need to have contact with anyone right now. I need to, again, I'll isolate myself and figure out how could someone, while I'm in there with my parents, have took in the car for a 5 mile joyride, right? Which is, looks like that's all they did, right? Well, of course, in the house, no one can hear what's going on outside at all. Not me, Marcine, or Blake, right? And if they took it for a 5 mile joyride, they would have to have a key, right? And my keys were recently stolen. And also, right, they would have to do so while we're eating, which was about an hour or so, right? And that's normally how we do things. We were also watching Saturday Night Live, different things on the, Mom was cooking the food, you had to wait for the noodles to boil, and stuff like that. So this is where the thoughts start racing because I'm calming down. Now, like in the novel, what was it? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the first thing when you notice something off you got to do is don't panic, right? Now, yes, you're a little concerned if it could have something to do with your mom, of course, right? She's the first suspect you want to eliminate 100%, right? Not the Yahoo who might have took it while you were in the house, which is another possibility, right? It's not just her who could have took the car anyway. It's also someone outside the house who could have. Now, the thing is, I'm not saying any of this is true, right? I'm dealing with each thought as it's popping into my head, right? That don't mean I'm a danger to anyone, like I said. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm trying to figure out why there is 5 miles less on the car when I paid attention coming from my mom's house back to my house to see if the odometer was working correctly, right? And the range on the car was working correctly. What the person there is doing is trying to make me think it has something to do with my mom since I was in the house and I'm blacking out a little bit. I realize that too, my mom, Marcine, and that's why too. But all I said I would do is if I thought you were a suspect or something could have involved with you, is just that I'll stay away from you for a little while. But that's because I know how my thoughts are going down. I don't want to harm you, not even the dumbass who went from the joyride while we were in the house, right? But of course, if they have a key, right? And my keys were missing, and we had to get a spare key for myself. That means they made a key of their own when they had the set of keys. Well, you could go to any Hyundai dealership and get a key to my car, right? Not just the one in Savannah. That would take a lot of investigative work, but I'm sure they wouldn't go to my dealership to get a key made, but there again, they could go to any Hyundai dealership and get a spare key made and say, I'm trying to make a spare key for my car. Can you make one based off of the model here? I'm not sure of the number or anything, but again, if they do it a certain way and they have enough information about me, they can get a spare key made at a different Hyundai dealership as well. Now, when they put the keys between the book and the piano, they messed up there too. they didn't just drop them as if they fell from the piano, top of the piano down between the books either, right? They neatly placed them there, like I told you before, right? That's why I showed you, like when I seen the movie with Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern, where they were doing the, chaos theory and stuff like that, right? They were talking about all that. And how when you drop the water on someone's skin, you think it's going to go one way, maybe both times. That's just, possible, right? But there's also a possibility it'll go a different way. So in the scene, Jeff was asking her which way would the water run off, right? This way or that way. And she said the same, right? But when we did it, it actually went in a different direction, right? Right. In the movie, right? Well, that's what's going on here. A little bit of misdirection for someone outside the house while we're all inside the house. Now, of course, my initial response is panic, right? I'm panicking, right? I'm saying, well, something's wrong here. Well, who drove the car 5 miles out of the house? Mom. I'm looking out, shit like that, right? So I'm in a panic mode, right? Like anyone would be who realizes they might be being stopped by someone's taking their keys, their watch, their things like that, right? And they're finding it back in the house where they already looked. Both of them. They still ain't returned the potatoes yet or the old remote, but that was on the old TV, but I gotta do it now, so again. I'm also trying to pick up on their thoughts too, right? Not just my own, right? See, if someone's trying to manipulate you and make you more paranoid than you were in the Navy, and they know you've survived certain things up to the Navy, not just them, but not just my parents, but they too know my strengths and weaknesses, and whatever they're doing to me is just continually knocking me out. Now, anything can knock someone out, not just roofies or stuff like that, or hit someone over the head, right? And that's what I'm saying too, right? Even laughing gas or a gas can knock someone out, right? Or I went to the bathroom, and when I was in the bathroom, they took the watch or something like that. I don't know. This is how people who are in law enforcement investigate any crime step by step. They try to follow what's called a lead, a theory based upon, which ain't provable yet, current information, but also you gotta eliminate the suspects. You gotta think logically, and again, be calm in the process. Don't panic. You don't exactly know what's going on. Even if you jump to the wrong conclusion at first, that the first people I want to eliminate are those I was actually in the house with, right? Which is Marceline, my stepdad, and my sister's son. So I'm eliminating them as a suspect, right? Now I know by watching the gauge, it's 5 miles from my house to my mom's, right? On the way back, right? So I look at the total loss of miles while I was in the house, which was 5. Now the reason I know that is I recorded my mileage when I left. It was 80 miles an hour, 80 miles on the gauge, right? So when I went to the house, it was 5 miles. If it's 5 miles on the way back, right? Let's say if I give it another mile, someone would drive it 4 miles, but that's still 4 miles off the gauge. It ain't supposed to be off the gauge, right? Now, unless something's wrong with the gauge, like the floater or something, or the computer, someone drove the car, right? 4 miles, so at least. Even if I was to give it a few more hundredths of a tenth of a mile, so I'll say half, right? That would still mean someone drove the car up to 4.5 miles while I was in there with my mom. That, in some circles, is called a joyride, right? So the purpose of this is to determine, I'm being harassed a lot on YouTube anyway. Is this my mom or someone else too, right? Now, they're trying to make me think it's my mom while I was in the house, right? But I don't remember being physically assaulted there, right? But I do remember being physically assaulted at the car accident in the 3-story fault, right? But she's the first suspect I will off the chopping block as a suspect. I'm trying to find the prime suspect there, right? So there we go back to the whole story I'm trying to figure out here. What happened at Vivian's house that would cause some problem between me and someone, and what was the actual thing? Now, like I said, Brian, I don't remember his last name, was also dating the girl who lived down that road, Sonia, things like that, right? Brian also was harassing me that I was gay, and again, I don't know exactly what's going on. So that's another story I told you as well as a possible connection there, right? And Brian used to harass me that I was gay too, right? Now, whatever it had to do with, it could have to do with sexuality, right? But if someone was there trying to jump me or something, that was planned by little Roddy and them, right? Not Marceline, again, and Big Roddy were at the house, right? Or the trailer. And we had our land on Pandora, right? And that was by the church, like I told you before, right? Well, see, that don't mean they knew anything about it at all, if they're there, right? But little Roddy did. And little Roddy was a scoundrel. You all know that, right? So if he does not have any glass in his hands, because like with me, if you're in a wreck, you're going to put your hands up to try to protect your head, right? Well, it looks like I at least did that in the car accident somehow, right? Now, if I was not at Vivian's house, the car was still wrecked. It don't even mean I was in the car when it was wrecked either. If it was me and little Roddy were at the car. But it still means someone wrecked the car, right? Right. They also could have put me in the car after the wreck as well and put me in a seatbelt and stuff like that. Because little Roddy wouldn't remember for sure if we were in the seatbelt or not. But, maybe we were, maybe we weren't, right? But if they put the seatbelt on, like when I talked with David Pelham about it a while back and asked him, well, was the seatbelt even on? He told me he was actually at the scene, right? Because Johnny Norris's brother was in the what? Did I tell you before? Sheriff's Department. This here puts David Pelham back at the scene. Again, like I said, not my mom. So David Pelham, right, just became another suspect. Though still not maybe the prime suspect, because we were more still friendly. It was who had a problem? Johnny Norris. So that means Johnny Norris, or someone he knows, is still the prime suspect there, right? At least for the first one. The second one, like I said, could have been some guy on base, right? See, Marceline, in order to get on base, has to have the pass, right? But it's just a temporary pass. But she can't get on the base either. She has to go to the Navy and all that, right? That's what I'm telling you there too, right? See, if my mom was on base for some reason, or was, in some kind of conspiracy with Daphne or something like that, I'm trying to eliminate the crazy thoughts there first, right? Because again, I'm being harassed and something happened between me and my stepdaughter as well, right? All I'm trying to do is figure out what the fuck's going on here. Like anyone else would, right? Oh, this is crazy even to me, and I'm paranoid it's schizophrenic, but I know it, right? So I'm dealing with thoughts initially, right? Each thought everyone has in their heads could be racing, meaning they're all at once, right? Or, if you're calm, slowly, meticulously, one at a time. And that's what I want to get back to, because initially, when you find something wrong and you don't know how it happened, your thoughts are racing because you're trying to figure out what the fuck happened, right? I was there with the bomb, right. So I know that too. Your thoughts also come at different speeds at different times, depending on what's going on, right? But like the author of the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy pointed out, don't panic, right? First illuminate the thoughts coming through your head first. That's all I do, Marceline. So I apologize for what I said about you and Granddaddy, right? I might be wrong with that, right? So that's the first thing I want to do, too, is also, because of my paranoia, being bridges so that I don't totally destroy them either. See, the first thing I'm trying to do is let my mom know if it was her, I would sort of understand if something bad happened to her in the past too, right? So I'm trying to rationalize my own thoughts, but I'm panicky, right? Initially, when you find something off around you, like with my watch or something like that, you look for it first, right? You eliminate everywhere it could be, like with the keys as well, right? Right. So you know whoever took it, right, did so and did a dumb thing both times. The first time, they put the keys between the piano and the books, right? But they placed them there. They weren't smart enough to push them off the piano, the top of the piano, and let them fall there naturally, right? That's how I knew, because I already looked there. And they were placed between there. They didn't actually fall off, they were placed, right? And that's why I showed you how to determine if something fell off or not, right? It's hard to get them perfectly, like with the chaos theory. Jeff was showing Laura Dern in the movie Jurassic Park, right? The first one. So that's why I showed you what would happen. Typically, yeah, it might can fall somewhat neat, but it can also fall how chaotically, right? Because when something falls, it's not going to fall the same way twice, right? That's what I'm saying there too. So here I'm just calming down. I went to sleep, said I'm not going to, have any contact with my mom or anyone right now. Trying to figure out what's happening, right? Calming down, not panicking, right? Though I did deal with my initial thoughts, like I said, if it was my mom, she's also a suspect, but she's the first suspect I want to eliminate as a suspect too, like you see them do on TV, right? Stuff like that, right? But that still means Johnny Norris or someone on base also could have gotten involved. But there again, I don't know if Johnny Norris is still holding a grudge over Lynn, which, we were children then. Maybe he believes me by now that I never spoke to anyone about it. I don't know. I had contact with him, but David Pelham did insert himself into the conversation a while back. I told you all that too, right? That was on my old channel, right? Well, I told you David Pelham said I was in the seatbelt. And I asked him, well, did little Ronnie put me in the seatbelt? Because I'm not sure I even had it on. But he insisted he did, right? I did, right? So I let that go, right? With David Pelham too, right? That's, again, I can't prove what I don't remember, right? No one can, right? It's called amnesia. And if we're all in the house and the car's missing 4 miles, that means the one in the house took the car, right? We were all preoccupied with fixing dinner. McGrawley would be in the back room, Blake would be playing his video games, my mom would be fixing the dinner, and I would be watching the Saturday Night Live on TV, right? So I'm remembering, details that are eliminating everyone in the house as a suspect. Because I was only there for a little over an hour as well. So you got to monitor your time, stuff like that. When you left, when you came in, which is all on the videos, right? That's what I'm doing too, right? I'm trying to figure out what all happened, right, in that space of time. Well, we were all in the house. Everyone was cooking dinner or doing their own thing. Mariah is in the back bedroom watching TV. Blake is doing his video games with earphones on. So I know it's none of them, right, in the house. But in case it was my mom and I'm panicking, I'm eliminating her as a major suspect. And all I'm going through right then, right? That's what all I'm doing, right? Nothing is proven yet either, beyond all reasonable doubt. It's just theories right now. That's the thing about, you gotta prove someone guilty beyond all reasonable doubts. They're just theories in the initial stage. You cannot run off hack-scot and attack someone based upon theories, right? If you do that, you might become a vigilante and hurt an innocent victim who never did nothing wrong, right? And all I'm doing now is learning, like they did in Law and Order or Criminal Intent or SVU, techniques of how to investigate these things as well, just based off of TV shows, like I said, too, Columbo and Quincy, right? Well, all these shows are doing is giving me ways to entertain you as well as I'm sorting through all the thoughts in my head. And that's what these channels are about on YouTube, to entertain people, right? None of it's provable, of course, right? But I'm just also trying to entertain you while also dealing with the mental illness, paranoid schizophrenia, and the three-story fall, and the car accident, right? But when I got into the Navy, I was initially fine. That's why I had the whole workup done with the neurological and the psychological before I got to the ship. All right, EMFM King and Christian Fellowship Church are still suspects too. I just eliminated my mom as the prime suspect, right? By continuing with the thoughts I was having last night, right? That also means I slept soundly through the night and stuff like that. Now, another problem is I have a cold. I also have not been out in the house, and the only way you can get a cold is direct contact with another human being, right? Well, I ain't been around another human being, right? To get a cold, right? So why would I suddenly wake up this morning with a cold? A human being I had contact with, somehow, if I shook their hand or something, gave me a cold. Then I try to figure out things like that, try to shake one's hands or whatever. Maybe I got a cold from someone. I'm not worried about that. That's not the real problem. The problem is my mileage on my car has changed, right? It's only 5 miles all the way back to my house, right? From my mom's house. But 15 miles was taken off the car, right? And the car was at 80 miles when I left the house, and now it's at 65 miles. So clearly, 5 additional miles was taken off the car when I was in the house. So someone, while I was in the house who had the key, took the car for a joyride. Trying to make me think initially, because of my paranoid schizophrenia, that it could be my mom, right? Though, of course, she's the first suspect I want to eliminate. Her and family, right? And this is to show people how I work through a problem, even with my paranoid schizophrenia, right? And think it through logically, more like a detective on TV than I would a paranoid schizophrenic as well. But that's just me imagining myself better than the mental illness would make me as well. But you still see aspects of the mental illness, you see what I mean, right? But again, I'm not letting it totally control my life like other paranoid schizophrenics do, who don't admit it, who, when they take the medications, don't feel it's working and stop taking it. Well, I demonstrated solidly the medication I was taking was not working and was causing adverse side effects. That's why I quit taking it, which was Abilify for 3 years, right? Well, my mom noticed I was getting increasingly paranoid. I was doing my karate and stuff like that. But nothing too unusual happened during that time either. It was when I started getting off of it that the keys for the Mustang turned up broken, and I didn't break it personally, right? That was the first sign of a problem, right? That's why I had to go to the hospital and stuff like that anyway, And that's when all the paranoia started too, right? Things like that, right? When I was trying to get off the Abilify, right? Though at the same time, I had been cutting back a little bit there too, right? But then I started getting the hand cramps. They said I might have carpal tunnel. But again, my hands would get better. If you got carpal tunnel, do you get better? Now, my mom said she had the same problem, but she kept using her hands and she got better. So, I don't know initially, but again, anything is possible. So, we're just trying to eliminate the suspects. So now my theory is not that my mom or Big Roddy had something to do with it, but while I was in the house and we were all distracted, someone again who got the keys, right, made a spare key, took the car for what? Joyride, right? For 4 miles, 4 to 5 miles, right? Now, the only difference between going there and coming back is crossing the intersection, going over the other side, and then crossing back over. That's not even, 100 feet or less, something like that. So still 5 miles, say 4.9, was taken off the car. Because 5,000 or so feet is a mile. Well, if it's 100 miles. That ain't even a tenth of that, right? You have to walk 500 feet to reach a tenth of a mile. That's math, right? 52 would be 100 tenth of a mile, 52 feet. So I would say 2/10 of a mile was added on the way to my mile, 2/100 of a tenth, 2/100 of a mile to them out of 10 out of 10. Because 10 times 10 is what? 100. And then you have the tens, which is, and then you have the whole number, right? Right. You have 100th of a mile, a tenth of a mile, and then the mile, right? So again, a tenth of a mile is 520 feet, right? And 100th tenth of a mile is 52 feet. And that's how you determine the mileage was, at least if I crossed the intersection and then crossed the other one to get to Mom's house, that would only be like maybe less than 100 feet, right? So that means if 52 and 52 is 104, so I was maybe less than 200 hundredths of a mile in going there as well, right? So someone still looks like they drove the car 4.9.8 miles, right? Right. Or nine, somewhere in there, But, right. It's a rough estimate trying to figure out what's all going on, right? So they drove the car at least 4.9 miles while we were out of the house preparing for dinner, right? So that there eliminates my mom, Big Roddy, and Blake as suspects at all. My family had nothing to do with it. We were eating dinner. But someone who had the key, and it don't even mean it was the person who stole the key, because you can have a flunky or a lackey steal the key for you. Now, like I told you, Thomas, he was a lieutenant in the Air Force, right? He knows how to delegate authority, stuff like that, right? What he does, if he has his cameras and I'm pointing all that out, he can't break into my house at all, right? If it's him, again, and he has his cameras running during the day, he would be on his own cameras. Well, he knows he's got the cameras, right? But if he gets a flunky to do it, like, you when you're in the military, you get someone under you to do certain jobs, right? Right. Well, Thomas would know all that, too, just like I do. Because I was also in the military, too, as an enlisted man who also worked with officers, right? See, the officers delegate authority, right? And they get you to do the job throughout the day, right? Right. Well, since my shipmates weren't training me, though, I didn't know exactly what to do, but I was, like I told you, at least going to the area I was supposed to work in, and the new chief petty officer I told you about, I forgot his name. Sorry about that, Chief. But anyway, he was a bald guy with a brown mustache, a little bit of hair on the side, but a little plump, but not, an average naval guy. I think he had blue or green eyes. They were like color eyes, and he had almost not quite red, but brown hair like me, I think. Right, somewhere in that like brown hair, right, somewhere there. Now I'm not describing him perfectly, and I think he might have wore those thin glasses you see, maybe. I'm trying to remember him, but it's been a while since I even saw him. But this is how a witness tries to describe someone they work with, too, right? But he was at least a chief, a senior chief, or a master chief, which are the three chiefs you can have in the Navy as well, right? And he might have been a senior chief. I don't remember specifically all the details of him. But anyway, when I was going to do one of the jobs, and he was coming up from a different area, he saw me on the way to do the job, and he praised me for going to the job. And we spoke about it on the way there, right? Because we met each other as we were going to it. I was going to do the job, and again, that was never my problem, Senior Chief. My problem was I did not get additional training on the ship other than the training we all get in day school. So I didn't know shit about electrical work, you understand? But I did know how to read the card, right? I knew how to get to the right area of the ship, which is what I was doing when we ran into each other, right? Right. You know I was going to do the job, but the problem is there's no picture of the equipment you're working on with the card, right? So that means when I got there, I just sort of looked around, inspected everything, and didn't know exactly what to work on when I got there, right? But I was still trying to do the job, but I didn't know what to do when I got there, right? Even though I was reading the card that told me what to do, I didn't know what the piece of equipment I was working on even looked like. That's why with Lieutenant Guzman, I didn't know what a logic switch was from A school. I had forgotten about that part of the training, right? But afterwards, because when they did the actual Lieutenant Guzman tested me on it and found out I didn't even do the job on the right piece of equipment. I know I was in the right area, right? He knew I was trying, right? But he also knew I had the wrong piece of equipment, because he asked me to point out what I was actually working on. And what it turned out I was working on was one of the phone switches, phone jacks, right? And I didn't even know what I was working on. And that's because there's no picture of what a logic circuit looks like on the card, right? Right. It's just, trying to tell you how to do the maintenance. Well, I didn't even know the logic switch for the elevator circuits that are 4 to 4 either. This is a 3-4 job going down on each opening of the elevator as well, right? Well, now I know all that, right? But then I didn't know all that, right? And that still shows I remember doing work on the ship too, right? Where we all got in trouble, right? But now that would also make it worse with my shipmates, and they would despise me, right? Especially King, who was electrocuted in his mind, maybe by me too. And Ben, who was harassing me that I was gay the whole time, right? But after I had knocked him upside the head, he stayed away from me, right? That still don't mean he wasn't harboring a grudge either, right? And then Pastor Thomas told me that I was one of the 2 witnesses, and Pastor Davis told me, try to molest me and touch my ass, right? Well, he has something to hide too, and he's also associated with the Navy. So again, right, I'm trying to eliminate all my suspects, and like I told my mom, it still looks like someone in Christian Fellowship Church, right? Even have something to do with, or someone on base, stuff like that, is trying to mess with me, right? Because all these things happened when I was in the Navy too, right? That's eliminating, but also looking for a prime suspect, which I've just eliminated my mom and stepdad and all that too. And taking, calm me down, not panicking, and taking all these ideas that currently came into my head into captivity to stop it, right? Calm down and figure out what's going on. Which I learned watching detective shows on TV, right? So that's all I'm going to talk about for today, right? So far. Just woke up about 2:30, somewhere around there. And like I told you, it's now 3:18 a.m. It's about a 38-minute video here. So I'm just keeping track of time logically and what's going on, right? Right. 1 step at a time. All right, anyway, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.